Hello, it's October 23rd, and we have entered the frost time in Earth medicine. Um, Time is like very interesting, and it's measured in different ways. And now this is the 12th video that I have done in the Flawed Guru series. It's supposed to be 5 minutes in the Flawed 5 minutes with the Flawed Guru. So only listening to it for 5 minutes, even if I go longer. Then you can come back and listen to the next 5 minutes. Um, so this is the 12th video, which is kind of interesting. And as I said, time, flows differently for different peoples. So, generally here in America we go, the new year begins, on January 1st, after the winter solstice. And the Chinese, the New Year begins, so many new moons or moons after the solstice in the spring, or usually like late January, late February. They have their lunar New Year. But for the ancient Celts, they looked at this period of time, this period of transition, the end of October, when we celebrate, Catholic Church celebrates All Souls Day, and all the kids celebrate Halloween, and then November 1st, All Saints Day. That was like a co-option of the ancient holiday, Samhain, which was seen as an ending and a beginning. And frost time, or in astrology, Scorpio, is the period of endings and beginnings. So many ancient people saw this as the ending of the year and the beginning of the new year. It's kind of like in the Bible where it says, and then there was evening and night, and morning one day, and it talks about it in that way, because the equinox was the evening, when things were even between the light and the dark. And then and now the dark is gaining ascendancy. And we're getting into dream time. And the sun is in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere it's reversed, but in the northern hemisphere now, the sun is going to the south, and the days are getting longer. The dark is getting stronger, and the days are getting colder, and so it's frost time. And the totem animal in earth medicine is the snake, and the snake, once again, is seen as a being of regeneration, because it can shed its skin and go on to something new. So this is a time of beginnings and endings, and so it's a time when we begin to go more introspective, more internal. The electrical energy of the earth is withdrawing in, so living in the earth, with the sun and the moon and the way that things go and the way that the seasons go, this is a time naturally to go more internal. And so this is a bridge time between the inner and the outer, when the energy is going more internal, more yin, more in. And so this period of time is, in a way, a kind of a bridge. It's like, once again, for the Amerindian people, in this case the Yaqui and stuff, it's like the rainbow bridge is the bridge between the dream world, the nighttime world, the spirit world, and the day world. So when you begin to remember your dreams and see your dreams, see beings in your dream become manifest in your daytime reality, then those dreams are a part of the rainbow bridge, between the unseen world and the seen world. And this period of time, what we go through, as we go more internal, then is a time to have more experience of that. Once again, for the ancients, this period of time in particular right, the end of October, the beginning of November, was the time when there's the closest bridge between the spiritual world and the physical world. And so it is a time where, thoughts of ancestors, communication with ancestors, and so on can come. And not like for us in modern psychology, the way that we, relate to the spirit world often is like, the deeper levels of the subconscious and the unconscious, the collective unconscious. And what this means is that, that this is a time to reflect, to introspect, to meditate, not to get caught up in these things, but to be aware that in the period of activity, the polar for this, is the time of the beaver. Snake beaver is an axis. Scorpio and Taurus are an axis. And so it's a period of time when then it was like to steady yourself and, to invest yourself, to see projects through to an end in the period of activity, to be, planting the seeds and doing the things that would bear fruit in the fall. Now, this is a time to do inner work. It is a time to allow, there's the resting now because the energy is like shifting and everything like that. Days are coming colder. We're naturally gravitating more indoors, not so much outdoor activity. In the past, it would be not so much of all of the, yang activity that takes place spring, summer, and fall, and instead going more into the yin activity, heading to the time of the home and the hearth and the regeneration and, the winter holidays when we find new hope and blessedness and prepare for the new year. So it's a good time then to take a break and to let go of things. Like the snake who sheds his skin. This is a time for letting go. It's always hard for me to let go. I have a little swimming pool in the backyard in the summer. It's so nice, to be able to jump in the pool. And now this is the time when I have to let go of that. I have to let go of that and, move more in the direction like of the bears. Not necessarily going into hibernation, but going into, it's going to be cold and preparing for the cold and going indoors and everything like that. So this is the cycle of life that we have. We engage in activities. We have new experiences. This year of 2015 has been a very, very full year. We as human beings don't go into hibernation, but it's a time then to go more internal and prepare for the new year and evaluate, take, like the things that are going to go on, then we harvest, we take those within ourselves. But it's time also then, to let go endings and prepare for new beginnings. So it's a good time to let go. It's a very sort of intense time because things come up, and it's an opportunity for things to come up. It's an opportunity, a lot of times we deceive ourselves and we think, everything is cool and stuff like that. We don't realize all the stuff that's going on. And it's healthy to let these things come up so that, we can then, become more aware of ourselves and digest things and evaluate things and make a new direction. So this in astrology, this time period is ruled by Pluto and Mars, and Pluto is the planet of beginnings and endings and deep things coming up and mysteries and stuff like that. And also associated with this period of time in astrology, and the flow of water in both earth medicine and astrology. This is a water period of time when there can be intense emotions and things like that. And it's also associated with deeper drives of the drives of eros, of sexuality. This is the period of time when Inanna and Demeter are going into the earth, into the underworld, and these are the life force kinds of things. So these subconscious, the subconscious drives of sexuality also, maybe, intensified and magnified during this period of time. And that's a part of, getting to know yourself, because a lot of the repressed feelings and frustrations and aspirations and hopes, are all linked to, those deep feelings, that are embodied in our desire, for ecstasy in life. I mean, this is a period of time, where we really can think more deeply. We're contacting the spirit world, we're going through these different kinds of things, the underworld, becomes more manifest. So this is a time of life and death. And sex is also very much associated with life and death, because sex is the power of procreation and regeneration. It gives life, and it is an area in which we give of ourselves. So I'm not saying, I'm not saying anything. I'm the flawed guru. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying to be aware, of these powerful, mysterious forces that are within us, and to get to know yourself, for me to get to know myself, for you, for us all to get to know ourselves better during this period of time, and reflect and introspect, and to become aware, to become more conscious of ourselves, and to evaluate things, because as we go through this period of time, then this is a period of time for rest, reflection, and regeneration. So that then, after we have rested and reflected and recharged our batteries and have a new perspective, then we can go out and into the coming year, recharged, having, learned, assimilated, our learning experiences, and then being, in a position then to formulate new goals. The things, letting go means to let go of what is old and worn out, the old skin. That doesn't mean that we, abandon, that which is valuable and ongoing. But we, reflect and evaluate and, modify our plans and our direction in life. And then, with a new energy, then we go forth, after this period, to accomplish more, and to develop more of our potential in the future. But you can't always just kind of rush on and everything like that, on a continuous basis. There are those periods of time when you need to recharge your batteries. And in recharging your batteries, that doesn't mean doing nothing. It might mean that your ego is less active, or physically that you're less active. But internally, on the subconscious and unconscious levels, you're doing a lot of work, and it's all a part of the process of human growth and development. So this is the frost time. This is the time of Scorpio. This is a time, of inwardness. This is a time of endings and new beginnings. And I hope that you can really relish and benefit from this time. And, you know, remember that in the deepest core, the deepest manifestation, the deepest source of all life and energy is all related to love. So to find within yourself, as you get to know yourself and as you go through this period of regeneration, to recharge your batteries in the infinite source of love. As we might say, in this world of heart and mind, who knows what treasures we can find when we drill through the crust of fears and distress into the reservoir of love within. We must beware, of course, lest unleashing this almighty force, uncontrolled and misdirected, having been so long neglected, we cause destruction, disappointment, or despair. But if the principles of love we know, if you realize that within yourself there is an infinite pool of love, then you can tap that infinite flow, and we can live in joy all together forever. So, during this frost time, as the temperatures decrease, may you find within yourself the inner warmth that will give glow and joy to your life, to your relationships with others. Happy frost time.